Hey, good people, how y'all doing? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be giving you all my review on the Real Housewives of Potomac, Season 7, Episode 10. Guys, thank you so much for watching. I have made 200 subscribers. And I am so grateful to you all for watching my videos. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe. I'd love to know what you guys felt about this particular episode. Without further ado, let's get into the episode. You guys, I know when we watch these shows, we want to see the drama. We want to see the reads. We enjoy that, right? Or at least let me speak for myself. I enjoy seeing a little drama, a little read here and there, but I also love to see these women in their element. See what they have going on in their personal lives in terms of the good things that they're doing. With that being said, you know, this episode wasn't filled with drama and people fighting, which is really a relief because we've seen that enough over the last 9 episodes before this one. So I'm grateful that it wasn't about that type of drama, but it was actually about people doing great things. So shout out to Candiace. She now has 2 college degrees, and it's just great to see a Black woman doing the daggone thing. We know that Wendy is definitely out here in these streets. She's a professor. She's doing some great things as well. Mia, you know that we all have our feel the way that we feel about Mia, but she did open up another chiropractic office. So shout out to her as well. When the episode opens up, Karen is in her sauna. She's trying to get herself together. I would love to have a sauna, to be honest with you all. Like, that would be so dope. You just go in there and sweat all those toxins out and just get your body right. I love that. Ashley is over at her house and she's doing another TikTok. Mia is at like a sports complex with her kids and she's also there with Gordon. And they briefly discussed the fact that they're opening up another location for their business. I believe it's called The Joint, something like that. Robyn and Giselle are doing their podcast. And to be honest with you all, I have never even heard their podcast. I know that they had a podcast. I just never was interested in hearing anything about it or listening to it. But Giselle does mention that it's doing pretty well and they are now looking to do a live show where they can have people there and kind of, you know, have that interaction with their fans, which is great. I'm not interested, but kudos to them. Giselle talks to Robyn about the twins being 16 and she is throwing them a sweet 16 party and how they don't want her to be there because, as she puts it, they hate her. Now, we all know those teenage years are pretty tough. We've all been there. It's obviously not that Giselle's kids hate her. It's just, you know, they're going through their little phase. And it's nice to be able to see, like, when they first started this show, how young those girls were to now them being young ladies. And even Grace, you know, like they started this show probably like 8 or 9 years old. And now Grace is graduating high school and the twins are 16. It's like, wow, time has really flown. Giselle mentions the fact that Ashley told her that back in Miami, Wendy and Robyn kind of had a moment where Wendy was singing a different tune. So Robyn's like, yeah, she was basically telling me how much she loves me and blah, 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 blah. And then they show the flashback of what was transpiring in the club. And we do see that Wendy does tell Robyn that she loves her. Now, it's great that we saw that, but I would love to have seen what Robyn's response to Wendy was. And I think it's also interesting that Robyn is kind of making it seem a little different than what it is in terms of she's not telling Giselle that she was there smiling and laughing and hugging Wendy back. I thought that was really interesting, but we'll have to see where their friendship goes. She lets Giselle know that she is going to meet with Candiace. She says that Candiace was upset that she was put on blast by Robyn. Giselle says, well, I don't know what she's upset about. She talked about all of us on Instagram. Over at Candiace's house, she and Chris are getting ready for her graduation party. As I mentioned earlier, Candiace now has 2 degrees. Kudos to her. She now has a master's of business administration. And she says that it's going to be a good look for her because now she can negotiate her contracts and different things like that as it relates to her singing career. And that is a boss move. And I'm really proud of Candiace, given all of the stuff that she's been through on the show, the issues that she's even had with her mother, the fact that she still is trying to strive to get higher education and put herself in a better situation is always a plus. She's telling Chris that she will be inviting Karen. One of the producers of the show apparently told her that she did talk mess behind Karen's back about Karen and Ray's relationship. So I guess she's going to use this party of hers to kind of make amends with Karen about that. She also is going to be inviting Robyn. She says that out of everyone in the group, Robyn is really the one that she's had a really tight, close relationship with. Every time she says that, I'm like, but what about Wendy? Like, where does Wendy fit into this whole thing? If I'm not mistaken, it was Candiace that brought Wendy onto the show. And so I'm thinking maybe they're not as cool as I initially thought that they were, and then that got me to thinking a little bit further. Like, Wendy has never been to Candiace's house. We've never seen Eddie, Wendy, Candiace, and Chris go out on a double date or anything like that. So maybe their relationship is not as close as, for whatever reason, I might have had in my head that it was. I'm going to say that. I'd love to hear, though, what Wendy feels about this whole situation, because if you guys remember back in Miami, when Candiace had said something about her relationship with Robyn, Wendy was looking at it like, wait a minute, so then what are we? Who does Wendy think she's the closest with on this show? I'd love to hear her answer to that question. Candiace also tells Chris that she is late on her period, so perhaps she might be pregnant. They're all excited. And you know what? I just hope that whatever God's will is for them, it will be what it's going to be, because Candiace and Chris be having me going up and down as far as this whole baby situation. At first, she wants to have the baby, and then she doesn't want to have the baby because she doesn't want a baby to come in between what she's trying to do with her career. So it's a bit confusing, but I think when it's time, it's going to happen the way that it's supposed to happen. We'll have to wait and see. We find out later in the episode that she's not pregnant. She does mention the fact that now that she knows she's not pregnant, she and Chris are going to just stick to their initial plan. So now we are over at Karen's house, and we see that her assistant, I thought at one point that he was her assistant. You guys correct me if I am wrong, but we see that Matt is back and they are together again and they're reunited. And I guess for the both of them, it feels so good. Karen wants to do some type of talk show or something like that. She says that she's been inspired from her friend Wendy Williams, even though the producers try to make it seem like she got this idea from the fact that Robyn and Giselle have their own podcasts. So she and Matt are discussing different things that they want to do within the show. And all I keep hearing Matt say is, we're going to cut to the drag queens, and then we're going to cut to this, and then we're going to cut to you wearing a whole different outfit, and blah, 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 blah. I mean, after all of those cut tos, I was just completely lost and ready for the next scene. Okay, I just was. But it is nice to see Matt. Karen says to him, a lot of the times these women, meaning her and the rest of the women on the show, kind of do the same things. And I'm like, no, not necessarily, Karen. You, in my opinion, kind of take from the other ladies. Like when Wendy had her candle line, the next thing you knew, Karen had her candle line. I think when Candiace started her hair company, the next thing you know, Karen was selling wigs. So it's just like, Karen, you really bite off of a lot of the women. But one thing I will say about Karen, it does seem like her stuff is a lot more successful, if you will, at least if we're talking about like her candle line and her fragrance line. I think those have done really well in comparison to a lot of the things that the other women have done. Next, we see that Wendy is coming home from the airport. Her husband Eddie is picking her up. I think it was so cute that when he picked her up, he had a bouquet of flowers for her. I thought that that was really beautiful. She is coming from an event that she had at the University of Chicago. And let me tell you guys something. Wendy looks absolutely gorgeous without makeup. Oh my goodness. She is beautiful. Okay. You know, some people wear makeup, and I'm not taking anything away from anybody, but they look a lot different when they don't have any makeup on. But Wendy, to me, it was almost as if, wait a minute, does she have makeup on? That's how good she looked without that makeup. That's all I can say about this particular scene. What a beautiful woman. But they are discussing her hectic schedule and the fact that the following week, it's actually going to be her birthday. Her students are graduating, and she's going to have surgery to get her kidney stones removed. Eddie just wants to make sure that she's taking care of her health and that her health is her number one priority. And she says that it is. In the next scene, finally, Robyn and Candiace meet. And let me tell you, Candiace came up in that restaurant looking like a superstar. I loved her look. So Candiace asks Robyn how the people are doing, which I was a little thrown off by this question, but we see that Robyn's hairstylist lost her sister and her brother-in-law in a car accident. And I think I read about this story. I did not know that Robyn was associated with this family in any way, but I do believe like some months ago, I read a story about a husband and wife coming home from some type of event, late night, early morning, and they somehow got into a car accident. And the thing that really stood out about the story is the fact that they had two boys. One, I believe, was either graduating or going to college, and the other one was like in high school. And it was really a sad story. So, if I'm not mistaken, these are the people that she's talking about. Sad to see, like, she breaks down and cries. She's really mourning these people, and I feel for her in this moment. It's beautiful that Candiace was able to be there for her, give her a hug, and just be a shoulder to cry on. And I will also say that this is definitely one of the more vulnerable moments that I've ever seen Robyn have on this show. Robyn says in her confessional that she just wants to squash any drama she has with the people that she cares about in her life. And I guess she's starting with Candiace. So she mentions to Candiace that she felt like Candiace was her little sister, and then things took a little bit of a turn, and Candiace agrees she really loves Robyn and looks up to Robyn. And at the end of their conversation, the both of them decide that they just want to move forward. So that's good. Like I said earlier, guys, I think that I misjudged the relationship that Candiace and Robyn have. I think that they really have a very close-knit relationship. And I think that they have a genuine relationship when you don't have Giselle in the mix, for sure. It is going to be interesting, in my opinion, to see how they move forward, just because they do have that Giselle factor in there. And we know that there is a rift between Giselle and Candiace right now. And Robyn is kind of basically, hate to say it, but she is in the middle. In the next scene, it is Mia's grand opening. And what struck me about this particular scene is the fact that the only person in the group that was there to support Mia was Karen. And the way that these two are acting, you would think they did not have any drama in Miami. It's kind of like it's just water under the bridge for the both of them. We do also see that Jacqueline is there, but I am surprised that there's no Giselle, there's no Robyn, there's no Ashley. I guess I'm not too surprised that Ashley is not there, but I definitely am surprised that neither Giselle nor Robyn are there to support her. So there was some type of deal that she and her husband had going on that fell through. The producer asked her, can you tell us anything about this deal? And she's like, no, I'm just tired of dealing with lawyers and this, that, and the third. I don't follow Mia outside of the show, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people who know what this deal is that she's referring to, but I have no idea. Okay, I just don't. She is of no interest to me. Ashley visits her Uncle Lump and her aunt, and she reveals that she is very scared to be on her own. She lets her aunt and her uncle know that Dean was supposed to come along with her, but Michael, who is just getting back from his trip in Las Vegas, decided that he wanted to spend time with Dean and he wanted her to just take Dylan. They got into a fight in front of Dean, and he's like kind of trying to be the mediator between the two of them and try to just tell them like, calm down. This boy is all of like 2 or 3 years old. Okay. It's really sad that he's in the middle of seeing his parents fight. I really do feel for Ashley and Michael, because I'm pretty sure that neither of them want their son to be in that type of position. As I mentioned, Ashley is telling her aunt and her uncle that she's just really scared to be left on her own, having to raise these boys. I think it's really hitting her that, girl, you're not going to have Michael there. And I think it's more so, you guys let me know what you feel. I think it's more so that she's not going to have Michael there as a provider, not so much as hands-on with the children. I just don't see him that way. One of the things that also struck me earlier in the episode was just seeing how Gordon was with the children that he and Mia share. Gordon seems to be very hands-on with the kids, where when you think of somebody like Michael, not so much. So I think that she's more so scared about that. Now, I don't know what their situation is going to look like now that they're separated. Is he going to continue to provide financial support? Will she eventually take him into court? I don't know anything about that, but I don't think it's so much like me and him and my children being raised in a 2-parent household. I think it's more so I'm not going to have that financial support. So her aunt and uncle just try to really encourage her and let her know, you have us as your family. You have other family that are there to support you. We're here cheering you on. You have to believe in yourself. And I think that's great that she just has those people in her corner there to encourage her and to let her know that everything is going to be okay. Next up, we have Candiace. She picks up her mother from the airport. And to be honest with you guys, I did not think that we were going to see Miss Dorothy anymore on this show. So it is really refreshing to see that she is back. Candiace says that she has just learned how to just let the things that her mom says roll off her shoulders. And I think that's for the best. Sometimes we have these expectations from people where we want to see them be a certain type of way towards us, that we have to really come to the realization that these people are never going to be what we want them to be. And we just have to accept them for who they are. And I think that that's what Candiace decided to do as it relates to her mom. Just take her for who and what she is. Candiace does let her know that, her period has not come. Her mom doesn't seem to be surprised or not surprised. She seems very cool, calm, and collected when hearing this information. She just tells Candiace that she hopes now she and Chris can kind of calm down on cursing and stuff like that. So we are now at the twins' Sweet 16, and Giselle's daughters look absolutely gorgeous. Oh my God, they are really young women, okay? We have, like I said earlier, seen them grow up on the show. We see that Pastor Jamal is there. Giselle says that he's always there, accounted for, and present. And that's good. It's always a great thing when you can see that both parents are there for their children. I also like the fact that Giselle let her girls have their Sweet 16 party, and she had something set up in another room for her and her friends. I thought that was pretty cool. It's now the day of Candiace's graduation party. We see that there is a snake in her backyard. Her mom is hilarious. Her mom says, Candiace, I thought Giselle wasn't coming. There she is. She came anyway, talking about the snake. I thought that was hilarious. Candiace does say that her mom gave Chris an apology the best way that she could. So the ladies all arrive. She has Karen, Robyn, Sharice, and her daughter Skylar there, as well as Wendy. It's nice to see that they all came out to support Candiace. Outside, Karen is talking to Robyn, and she wants to know when the wedding is. Robyn says, we are working on our plans. It's going to be a private ceremony, just the four of us. When she was saying just the four of us, I was thinking like, who are the four? I understand you and Juan are two, but who are the other two? And then I realized that she was talking about their boys. I think it's safe to say not only will there not be a wedding, but they're probably not going to get married either. I don't feel it, okay? I just really don't. Karen says in her confessional that now you two are having an intimate ceremony with no guests. So now Wendy joins them and Karen gets up and leaves. Ooh, this is so awkward. Wendy takes this time to check in with Robyn, and she mentions the fact that at the club, she brought up to Robyn that she did not like the things that Robyn was saying about her, which I thought was rather interesting. She mentions the fact that Robyn has said some things to her that she did not like. And this is why I feel like I really need to hear Wendy's side of this whole story, because just hearing from Robyn, of course, she's going to make it seem very one-sided. Robyn feels as if Wendy acts one way when the group is around and another way when it's just her and Wendy one-on-one. She wants to know which one Wendy is going to be. Wendy says that this question is valid. She doesn't want to lose the relationship that she and Robyn had established. She does go ahead and apologize to Robyn. So I'm sitting here waiting for Robyn to apologize to Wendy for her behavior. Wendy kind of has to push Robyn to apologize. So I'm already like, Wendy, you working too hard for something that you shouldn't have to work hard for at all. You've apologized for your actions. I don't really feel like she deserved an apology from you, but whatever. But now it's also time for her to apologize as well. And the fact that you have to kind of force an apology from her, it's not coming across as sincere. It's not coming across as you guys' relationship is going to be able to move forward. It's just not. Let me know what your opinion of that is. Robyn does decide to go ahead and apologize, by the way. They hug it out, and for now they're on good terms. We're going to have to wait and see what happens. Candiace lets Karen know that she actually did say some things about her relationship with Ray, and she apologizes to Karen for that. Karen says in her confessional that as long as you own it, I'm okay with it. she asks Candiace how she and Ashley are, and Candiace says we are not. Candiace does not like how the group is disjointed. She wants them all just to be able to come together. I would like to see that as well. I have to say, like I said earlier, this episode is a lot more refreshing for me because we're not seeing these women go back and forth with one another. While they're talking, Ray and Chris are over there having their own conversation, and they're talking about this whole situation with Giselle. Ray tells Chris that he believes Chris should take the higher road and just apologize to Giselle. Chris is like, why am I going to apologize to her? I didn't do anything wrong. Chris goes on to say in his confessional that apologizing to Giselle is admitting to doing something wrong, and he doesn't feel like he did anything wrong. I totally agree. It is not necessary for him to apologize. This is something that Giselle needs to deal with herself because according to him and really according to her, he did nothing wrong. Candiace says in her confessional with Chris that if he and Giselle do meet and they talk, who knows what else Giselle is going to say. They did not expect her to make the accusations that she did. Great point. I can't disagree with what Candiace is saying. So because of this conversation that Chris has had with Ray, he's walking around the house all upset, cursing left and right. He finally goes outside and has a cigar, but I just thought it was very odd that here your wife is having this great moment and you're not there to stand next to her. I did not like that, but it is what it is. That's the end of the episode, guys. You all let me know what you felt about everything. Leave your comments down below, and I'll see you next time. Thanks again for watching. Bye-bye.